What's going on, family? Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I'm not doing a video today. I have some painters here, and you may hear them talking in the background. That's why I'm not doing any videos. I just wanted to bring out some of the photos and just to show you some of the photos that I have because I'm working on a project, as I believe I explained to you in another video. I have well over 5,000 photos. I'm going to be downsizing a lot of my collection. I already have that in the works. My attorney is just going to let me know when the actual date is, but I have some of the archives that I have going around 3 different auction sites, and I'll be busy, so I won't be doing some videos for a little bit. And I got to make sure I stay on top of that because a lot of these things are worth thousands and thousands of dollars, and I'm trying to make sure I get everything I'm entitled to. And that's how you handle business. But right now, I'm just showing you some of these photos here. I'm not going to get into the fighters specifically, probably about 3 or 4. Just to make this video a little interesting. But right now, here's Cleo Shane. Now, Cleo Shane was a very good fighter back in his time in the 1950s. I did a profile on him. We type in Cleo Shane and Scrapbook Boxing, and you'll learn a little bit more about Cleo Shane. Right here, you have Bucky Keys, another good fighter at his time. He was a small fighter, but a very strong, very powerful fighter he was. Here you have Sugar Ray Robinson. And he was training, I believe it was for Jake LaMotta, as a matter of fact, one of the Jake LaMotta fights. And he spawned with Little Tiger Aaron Wade, Black Middlesbrough fighter. And I have a lot of photos like this. Here you have Abe Simon. Abe Simon was in the ring along with Buddy Bear, with Joe Louis for the Army and Navy Relief. Abe Simon was a very tall fighter. Wasn't skillful, but he was just a big man at that time. Got an opportunity to fight for the title with Joe Louis, 1941-42. Let's see here. Bobby Yeager, another good fighter he was. Here you have Eddie Hudson. Willie Lewis. Harold Green. Let me talk about Harold Green for a second real quickly. Harold Green was a welterweight middleweight. Now, he fought Rocky Graziano several times and out of the ring. They went to the same high school. They were both from Brownsville, Brooklyn. And Rocky Graziano had an opportunity to fight Tony Zale in 1947 for the middleweight championship of the world. And Harold Green didn't like that because he believed he was entitled to that opportunity as well. So they had a street fight. But they had a street fight several times, at least 4 or 5 that I know of, confirmed. Because my dad was right next to the same locker as Harold Green. It was like 8 lockers per unit. And my dad was next to Harold Green in Stillman's gym. Also, you had next to him was Sam Baruti. You had a fighter by the name of Johnny Bratton. He was out of Chicago. When he came in town, he had that locker ready for him. And also you had Sandy Sadler, and who else was in that row of lockers? Jimmy Carter. So you had Jimmy Carter, Sandy Sadler, Harold Green, Sam Baruti, Johnny Bratton, my dad as well. And you had like 1 or 2 other guys, all famous guys. That's all you had in Stillman's gym at that time. Here you have Paul Cavalier. He was a very good trainer. He trained out of Lenny Shaw's boxing gym. He had a brother by the name of Art Cavalier. You also had Ace Murata in that gym at that time as well. They were all trainers, and they were part of the main events team. Now, he told me some things on a heavy bag, unbelievable, amazing. Some of the old school training techniques that you don't have around anymore. But he was a referee in New Jersey, and he refereed the Charlie Fusari and Sugar Ray Robinson fight. That fight took place in 1950. It was the first title defense that Ray Robinson had, and he was the referee for him. He also refereed Tony Zale and Rocky Graziano, and Tony Zale and Marcel Sedan, and many others. So salute to Paul Cavalier, R.I.P. to him. Taught me a lot about the game as well. This man here, his name is Henry Davis. I'm going to get into him in a moment. But I chose him specifically because he's a guy that you never heard of. He's not in any history books, but he accomplished a lot. And there's a lot of fighters like that. And that's why I'm going to be working on this project, because I want to introduce a lot of these kind of fighters to you. You know, he had the California State Championship, Mexican State Championship, all kind of Hawaiian State Championship, all kind of state championships he had. And I just want to introduce him to you. Here you have Rory Calhoun, very good fighter, hard-punching middleweight. I always admired Rory Calhoun, very good friend of my dad's as well. And he was in a movie, Requiem for a Heavyweight. He was one of the guys that was about 9 or 10 guys, Bonnie Ross and Willie Pep and others. Phil Terranova, they were all lined up next to a bar in the scene of Requiem for a Heavyweight. Let me see here. Cleo Shane. I told you about him. Not sure if I did or not. I showed you about him, Little Tiger Aaron Wade and Ray Robinson. I have well over 5,000 boxing photos, and I'm going to be downsizing. I'm going to have to. But here you have Langston Dennis, very good middleweight. He was in there with a lot of the fighters that I talked about in the past. I'll be doing a profile on him, but he was a very, very good fighter. Again, he's another fighter that you have never heard of because they don't talk about him. But I'm trying to get a hold of all of these fighters to talk about them for you. Here you have a fighter by the name of Steve Belois. He had a brother, Mike Belois, who was a champion. Steve Belois was a very good fighter. I met him as well. Was able to get his autograph. Here you have Canadian heavyweight. His name was George Chuvalo. Got his autograph as well. Very nice guy was George Chuvalo. I met him in Canastota. Canastota is the Boxing Hall of Fame. I've been up there several times, met hundreds and hundreds of fighters, Hall of Famers, and contenders of the past, current, present. Now, this group of guys here, I think I showed you in one of the videos that I'm going to be doing. I'm making collages of some of the past fighters. Try to do as many of them as I can per collage. And the collage I'll have like black fighters in one collage. The other one I'll have Irish and Italian fighters. The other one I'll have like Puerto Rican and Mexican fighters. Just give you an idea. The other one will be Asian, like, the Filipinos, Orients. And doing that for a specific reason is going to make my job a lot easier when I do my live streams. I'll be able to zoom into the fighter that I'm talking about and the fighters that he fought. Here's Moses Ward. Very good two-fisted puncher. Like I said, if you hear some talking, it's because the painters are in my house painting. Right here you have Rocky Castellani. Now, I'll tell you about him for a moment. He was in there with Ray Robinson. He was in there with a lot of great fighters. And this is what I was talking about. I did a video, and I think I mentioned Rocky Castellani, and Canelo Alvarez. And the reason why I did that was because Canelo Alvarez is a very good fighter, outstanding fighter. So is Rocky Castellani. He would have been champion with no problem today. But that's the thing. You don't realize that because you don't know about these guys. And Rocky Castellani fought in a lot of the clubs. He fought in Madison Square Garden several times, but he worked his way up to doing that. But he was in there with Sonny Garden and Broadway Arena, St. Nicholas Arena, a lot of those arenas. And the reason for that was because there were so many fighters at that time, and you had so many arenas to fight in, and you only had one title holder per weight division. So all those guys couldn't be champions at the same time. And that's what it would have been like Canelo Alvarez and other fighters, Sean Porter. All of those kind of guys would have been, 6, 8, and 10 round fighters, because that's where you would be able to get fights. So you would take an 8-round fight, you would take a 6-round fight, you would take an 10-round fight, and you just get lost in the shuffle because there was so many fighters at that time, so many outstanding fighters. Here you have Nobby Joe Gans. He was a color lightweight champion. Here you have a fighter by the name of Joe Hall. Here you have Tommy Bell. Tommy Bell was the number 1 ranked in 1946, and Ray Robinson was ranked number 1. They would fight one another for the welterweight championship, and he would drop Ray Robinson. Robinson would get up and finish the fight, and he would fight Ray Robinson twice, as a matter of fact. This fight right here is a very, very good fighter. Very good fighter he was. His name was Claude Viner. Very good fighter he was. In fact, tremendous fighter. And again, you don't hear of these guys, and I'm here to try to make that happen for you. Here you had Elmer Violent Ray. He was Black Murder as well. Very good fighter he was in the heavyweight division. And I don't know if you ever heard of George Sugar Costner. As a matter of fact, I did a profile on George Sugar Costner. His claim to fame is he was knocked out twice in the first round with Sugar Ray Robinson because he shared the name Sugar. Robinson didn't like that. He had to straighten that out in the ring. But outside of that, he was a very good fighter. You have Cleo Shane. I think I showed you him in another photo. And I'm just scousing around here. You have Chicago's Johnny Bratton. He was a welterweight. He wanted to become a champion. But he was a dazzling performer. Fought like Ray Robinson. Only problem is he had brittle hands. And he fought 9 rounds with a broken jaw. I mean, the heart he had was courageousness was unbelievable. Very good fighter here. You had Percy Bassett, was out of Philadelphia. And I remember him. He was in the ring with Sandy Saddler. Very good fighter he was. Percy Bassett, once again, he was a Philadelphian lightweight. So I just wanted to give you somewhat of an idea. Here you have Turkey Thompson and Elmer Violent Ray once again. Bobby Boyd. You have Cleveland Williams, according to Big Cat. Lloyd Marshall. Bob Baker. He was in there with Clarence Henry and Willie James. Bob Satterfield. Who else was he in there with? He was in there with so many guys. Tommy Hurricane Jackson. He had Armstead Armstrong. So just a quick video. Just wanted to show you some of the photos that I have here and projects that I'm going to be working on. So salute to my subscribers. Shout out to all these great fighters. Here you have a fighter by the name of Al Walker. I did a profile on him the other day. All great fights and all great fighters and be forgotten on my channel. Salute to all my subscribers and all these great fighters. Rocky Castellani. Really, really good fighter he was. All right, salute. Armstead Armstrong, nicknamed Gene. Gene Armstrong was his nickname. All right, salute. Peace.